Can we all agree that trans women are men? That's a biological fact. In Western Australia, however, it's also potentially hate speech, a matter serious enough to warrant a special police unit, taxpayer funding and breathless tweets about community safety. More on that in a moment. But first, a man may identify as a woman, man may dress as a woman, he may even alter his body to more approximately resemble a woman, but men can't become women. And if you disagree, which is fine, don't hate on me, take it up with his XY chromosomes. But in West Australia, apparently, the chromosomes are innocent. It's you that the police are interested in. Just last week, police in WA launched an investigation into what they described as, quote, a series of criminal damage incidents in Subiaco. Now, the criminal damage, also labelled acts of hate, were the placement of stickers in public places that read, and I quote, brace yourself, trans women are real men. Now, in response to this outbreak of scientific literacy, Perth Police released the following statement. Let me read it for you. The State Security Investigation Group Hate Crime Team, that's a mouthful, is investigating a series of criminal damage incidents in Subiaco around Wednesday, 10th of December 2025. Several transphobic stickers were placed in public spaces around the Subiaco Library precinct, nearby park areas and close to a local school. Now, my first reaction was relief. Clearly there is no actual crime in Perth's parks. But wait, the police were concerned that biological facts were being stated, quote, near a school. Well, we can't have biological facts being stated near a school, can we? Next thing, they'll be teaching biological facts inside the school. I'd very much like the hate crime team to explain how saying that trans women are real men is transphobic. I'd say it's pro-reality. Presumably, police want us to say that trans women are real women, which would constitute a very strange state of affairs indeed. Publish biological untruths and the police won't bother you a bit, but dare to speak the truth and you'll be investigated as a threat to community safety. The police statement continued, WA police are working closely with the City of Subiaco and the LGBTQIA+ community and are committed to addressing this issue. Now, don't forget this issue is someone daring to state a biological reality. But police went on. Let me quote, the WA police force will not allow acts of hatred, intolerance or discrimination to go unchecked. We have zero tolerance for hate in our community and will use every resource at our disposal to protect the public and bring offenders to justice. Those responsible will be held to account. Remember, we're talking about stickers. If only police were as motivated to track down Islamist preachers calling for a globalised intifada. But no, the real threat to peace and harmony are those bigots who know a penis when they see one. Out in Perth, that's an LGBTQ publication, reported, and I quote, throughout the year, contractors for the City of Subiaco have been removing the stickers, noting that they've dealt with 38 incidents since July. There have also been reports of the stickers appearing in other inner-city locations. Yes, you heard that right. Ratepayers are funding sticker patrols 38 times since July. Thanks to council contractors, the truth has been heroically neutralised. The CEO of Transfolk WA told local media there was confusion as to what this person putting these stickers on public places was trying to achieve by placing the stickers in spaces predominantly used by young children. Well, OK, but can I then ask what Transfolk WA are trying to achieve by keeping biological truth away from young children? The Transfolk CEO continued, and I quote, when you resort to tactics like this in a playground, you have clearly lost the moral argument. Well, the argument over whether or not trans women are real men is not a moral argument, that's a scientific argument, and the answer is that they are. Like I said, take it up with his chromosomes. But the moral argument, well, that comes later. The moral argument is about whether or not the state should have the power to enforce a biological lie while prosecuting anyone who insists on speaking the truth. And I think the answer to that is as obvious as the answer to what a woman is. Finally, the transfolk CEO tried to argue that stickers stating trans women are real men made the community unsafe. Quote, most West Australians want our suburbs to be welcoming, tidy and safe. Stickers like these achieve none of that. Well, I think we all want our communities to be welcoming and safe, but if a community can only remain welcoming and safe by banning inconvenient truths, one wonders what exactly is being kept safe from. And finally, the transfolk CEO said this: messages like these are designed to create division. They try to import a loud, aggressive culture war style of politics that doesn't reflect how most of us actually interact in real life. Well, truth doesn't create division between reasonable people. It creates division between those who value truth and those who require biological fiction to function. I'll concede this point, though. We are most certainly in a war for the culture. It seems to me we're in a war between those who want culture built on reality, however inconvenient, and those who want our culture built on the quicksand of personal preference, enforced by police, paid for by taxpayers, and protected from stickers. In West Australia, at least for now, the stickers are losing, but reality has a habit of surviving its own criminalisation. Now, while we're on this topic, the progressive left, they perform all manner of twists and turns in an effort to produce their contorted narratives. But try as they might, reality just won't bend. Speaking of which, last week, reality wandered onto the centre court in Dubai, where it wiped its feet on the welcome mat of ideology and refused to play along. The tennis match between Nick Kyrgios and Arina Sabalenka was billed as a, quote, battle of the sexes. Why it wasn't called a battle of the genders is something you'll have to ask the organisers, but I digress. Kyrgios, who's ranked somewhere south of relevance, by which I mean outside the ATP top 600, smashed the world's #1 female player, beating her in straight sets. The 3-6, 3-6 scoreline actually flattered Sabalenka. Her side of the court was made 9% smaller than Kyrgios's side. She still couldn't defend it, and both players were limited to one serve each, so that Kyrgios had to rely on placement more than power. It made no difference. Kyrgios, who's barely hit a tennis ball in anger for the past 3 years, was unfit, only intermittently interested in the game, and clearly more engaged in arguing with the umpire than winning points. Even then, he was never seriously challenged.
The rules were changed to benefit the world #1, but she was still no match for Kyrgios, who is hyping up his win regardless of the critics.
On return from injury, men's world number 671 Nick Kyrgios defeated women's world #1 Arina Sabalenka 6-3, 6-3.
It's Nick Kyrgios that secures victory in the battle of the sexes.
From the opening games, the outcome felt inevitable. Not dramatic, not controversial, just, well, obvious. And that, of course, is the problem. ABC News reported on the event with precisely zero self-reflection, studiously avoiding the uncomfortable implication it has spent years trying to pretend doesn't exist. Men have a distinct physical advantage over women. Here's the ABC headline: Nick Kyrgios defeats Arina Sabalenka in the latest battle of the sexes. And have a listen to how the ABC article begins. Unsurprisingly, Australia's Nick Kyrgios has defeated women's world #1 Arina Sabalenka in the latest battle of the sexes. Well, hang on a second. What does the ABC report mean by unsurprisingly? As if a man beating a woman at tennis is something of a foregone conclusion? This, remember, is the same broadcaster that has championed the idea that biological males identifying as female should compete in women's sport, consequences be damned. When a washed-up male player strolls past the world's best woman, even after the rulebook had been rewritten in her favour, what you're watching is biology, calmly, politely and without malice saying no, just no. Women's sport has protected categories for a reason, not because women are weak, but because fairness requires acknowledging difference. Pretending men have no physical advantage over women doesn't make sport inclusive or fair or noble. It just makes it dishonest. Reality doesn't bend, not even for the ABC. And one more thing while we're talking about gender ideology. A court in France has convicted 10 people of cyberbullying after they repeatedly referred to Emmanuel Macron's wife, Brigitte, as a man. Now, later in the show, we'll get into all the details from Sophie Ellsworth in the UK, but just one quick observation, if I may, about this court ruling overnight. It's fascinating to me that calling a biological woman a man is actionable in law, but in other contexts, not calling a biological man a woman is also actionable in law. Please, would someone make it make sense? I've got to tell you, life was a whole lot simpler and made a lot more sense back in our grandparents' day before we decided to demonise facts and deify our feelings.